Hey everyone, Tyson the Subaru specialist from Subaru Prince George here, and going through the 2025 Subaru Forester Touring in the Sapphire blue. Absolutely gorgeous blue. I think it complements the new redesigned body style very, very well. Subaru's done an absolutely fantastic job with the 25 redesign. So it's an updated exterior, updated interior, updated engine. They've made a bunch of tech changes and feature changes. This is definitely an elevated, upgraded Forester. Now, immediately at the front, it's definitely different than the previous gen. A little bit more flat. I've had some people tell me it looks like a Ford Explorer, and I don't disagree. Design language was definitely borrowed from somewhere. Grille on the Touring is the magnetite gray metallic. Maybe a shade lighter than magnetite gray. It might not be actual magnetite, but gray metallic grille, definitely an upgrade from the convenience flat black. Check that out. I do have another video. I'll post that in the video description so you can compare. New style headlights on the Touring. You've got that top daytime running light, and it is an LED steering responsive headlight. I had a chance to drive one the other evening. Absolutely fantastic. Very, very bright. We've got these new style fog lights, which initially I admittedly was not a huge fan of, but at night I think that they look absolutely fantastic. They cast a very wide beam of light. And you'll notice with the grille, it's hexagonal shaped. You'll see a lot of hexagonal components in the design language, in the design of the Forester. That is the new geometry that you see in a lot of them. You do get upgraded 17-inch alloy wheels on the Touring, definitely a little bit different than the convenience wheels. They're a good looking wheel in my opinion, wrapped in Yokohamas, and we've got the black cladding that Subaru is famous for around the wheel arches. They put them in the high wear areas to help reduce the chance of rust developing. You know, plastic doesn't rust, so when it gets beat up around there, it doesn't rust. We've got functional vents. The mirror caps are the same gray metallic. No integrated turn signal in the Touring. You have to go up to the Sport to get that. We do have more hexagonal design language along the bottom, more texture. And I do really like this. If you compare it versus the previous gen Forester, it's still very similar. If you put them side by side, it's still definitely a Forester. Roof rails have changed slightly on the 25s versus the 24s. We have the integrated tie downs front and rear on all of the models that don't have the low profile roof rails, and you can get OEM Subaru crossbars for these, which is really nice. They've changed the location of the symmetrical all-wheel drive badge, and this is also in the gray. So they're kind of tying everything together, which I am actually a huge fan of. Fuel door, still rear passenger side. When the driver door is unlocked, you push in and it pops open. It is a larger opening than the previous ones. I'm not sure what the reasoning behind that was. Not a negative, not a positive, just something I observed. You run regular 87 in it. Don't have to run premium, anything like that. New taillights, which I really like the look of, actually. Got half of the hexagon there, and it does say Subaru on the inside there. Now, what I really like, they tie together into this black metallic painted strip across to the other taillight. I think it's nice that they're kind of making everything. I know it's all symmetrical all-wheel drive, but I love that it ties it all together. We have Forester debossed into the rear tailgate. You see that in a lot of vehicles now. The tailgates mostly on things like the Tacoma and the F-150 and the Tundra. This is also the first trim level where you get backup sensors integrated into the rear bumper, and they will apply the brakes if things are gonna hit something in reverse between speeds of 1 and 15 kilometers an hour. Our exhaust pipe comes out in one of these half hexagons. Got the exact same cutout on the rear driver's side. Blacked out badging for all of the Subarus now. And there's nothing on the rear right, which is normally where you'd see the opposite. It'd say Subaru full-time symmetrical all-wheel drive, and then you'd have the nameplate there, but they've got that debossed there. Now, we have a power kick gate, which I initially was not a huge fan of, but it's grown on me. So long as the key's on your person, you walk up, you do the kicking motion, and then back up. You have to back up or it won't open. It has to sense the key moving away. Now, initially I wasn't a huge fan of that. I like the Outback style, but I'm seeing the benefit to this. And the benefit is, if I grab something out of here, my hands are full. I don't have to reach up and press these, lock, close, or pull down. I can also do the kick motion to close it, and I'll show you guys that in a second. Just like the previous generation Forester, there's a lot of room in here. Tall, wide, and deep storage. I'm not sure what the actual square footage is. I didn't remember exactly that, but there's a lot of room. Got a nice privacy cover tied in with this topographical map on the cargo tray, and the cargo tray has a little bit of a lip all the way around, hopefully help contain any spills or liquids that may come out. Privacy cover has the handle that they borrowed from the Crosstrek, the new style Crosstrek one, which is really nice, and that's standard equipment on the Touring. This secondary portion is adjustable, and that is because the second row is adjustable. You can recline it, and I'll show you guys that. This is also easy to remove. It's just a telescopic piece, and it actually tucks underneath here, and it goes right across. We've got a little bit of storage there, and then underneath this tray, we have our spare tire and tools. We have physical hard mount tie downs in each corner, which is really nice. We've got some texture, we've got some Easter eggs, lantern, we've got a telescope there. There's some other Easter eggs elsewhere in the Forester. I did a video about that. I'll include that in the video description as well. We have our grocery bag hooks, tie down, and then if I need to fold the seats down, I'm tall enough, I've got long enough arms, I can just do this. You may have to walk around to the second row, but you can dramatically increase the storage space in the Forester. It's massive. Camping in this, unless you're exceptionally tall, this shouldn't be an issue. We do also have an LED cargo light. You don't have to have it active, you can shut it off, but that will shut off on its own when you close the hatch. Now, the kick gate, again, you're going to kick and then back up. And I just tested this and if you don't kick right, there we go, it doesn't do it. So it beeps 3 times, and on the 3rd time, it closes. The speed of the opening and the closing can be changed by a dealership computer. So if you find that it's too fast, you can slow it down. If it's too slow, you can probably get it sped up. But yeah, as I just demonstrated, the kicking motion has to be just right. And I'm sure they did that on purpose. Something you'll notice if you have a current generation Forester or have spent a decent amount of time in it, these third windows are larger. They increase the visibility, especially when you're shoulder checking. So it does make actually quite a bit of difference. I didn't think I would notice, but when I did my test drives in them at the Subaru training, it was pretty significant. They also changed the hood a little bit to increase visibility just like this, and I'll show you guys that in a minute. Now, these seats go up very, very easy. And you, essentially, if it's in red, if red's visible, it's not locked. As soon as it's locked, you can't see red. And it's kind of spring-loaded, which is nice. Now, to recline it, got this little tether, and this is, of course, hard to do while holding a camera. So I'm gonna pull, and I'm gonna push on the top with my elbow. Let go, and you can see it's reclined. It's not super significant. It's not like you're laying down in a beach recliner or anything, but it's enough you may be able to take a nap if you need. And then you just pull this again, and it goes back up. Easy. Now this is the premium gray cloth, and if you look closely, it's not an illusion. There's a little bit of blue in the fabric as well, and that ties it together with the blue contrast stitching that you get in this cloth. So this is the premium cloth with the blue stitching. There is a fold down armrest with cup holders, and there's a lot of headroom, a lot of leg room. I'm a bigger guy. The Forester definitely has the most second row room out of all of our vehicles in the Subaru lineup. It's a lot of room, it's very comfortable. Even with this front seat in a position where I would normally drive, I fit perfectly. My knees aren't tucked up under my chin. If you have taller children or you carry an adult around in the second row often, this is probably a good vehicle for that. On the backs of both front seats, we have 3 map back pockets for storage. Out of the center console, we have 2 vents and 2 USB ports. The vents pair with the vents underneath each front seat facing rearward, so it heats up and cools down very effectively, and these are just for charging. It is not for playing music through, but it keeps everyone connected on those longer trips. We have easy access to the lower anchors and tethers for children. They're not behind covers anymore. I was initially concerned that that would dig into my lower back or my butt when I was sitting. That is not the case. Now, this right here is textured and is designed to be a step, so you can stand on it and put things on the cross rails when you have them mounted on the roof rails there. And they want you standing there instead of on the tire for 2 reasons. 1, the tire sits inside the fender. You're not gonna get as much of your foot on that as you will that. which is unfortunate. The other reason is I'm right at the back of the rail system. So I'll probably be leaning, put myself off balance, potentially in a precarious situation. So that's why they want you standing there. Just below that, I've got this little black cutout. I get asked, what is that? That is what this extra side impact crash safety bar locks into. And it is designed to help reduce the chance of intrusion into the passenger cab in the event of a side collision, which we hope never happens anyways, but Subaru's all about safety. That's where it's beneficial. Rear door card is soft touch, along with a soft touch armrest. Very nice. I like that they've got the same gray material along with the blue contrast stitching, ties it all together. This is soft touch. It's rubberized soft touch, which is nice. It's not hard, it's not uncomfortable. Resting your arm on that's not gonna hurt. It's quite nice. It's got a decent amount of give to it, which I like. And then when you grab, you obviously can't see it on the video, but my finger actually sits underneath it. There's this little bump, makes grabbing it easier. And even there's soft touch down here for when you grab it, it's quite nice. We've got a little bit of storage in a bottle holder. We have easy access to the child locks if you need that. Important to note, that side is not tied to that side. They're operated independently. Really nice, solid closing doors, good sound out of them when it's not tinny. They've increased the size of the door cups. Hopefully it results in less scratches inside the door cups, but like even the shape of it is different. It's kind of egg shaped. A lot easier to fit your hand in. And it is a proximity key, so to lock it, so long as the key's within 46 inches, you just touch the lines and it locks, and we'll just confirm. Locked, and then to unlock it again, so long as the key's within 46 inches, hand in the handle. There is a small audible, I don't know if the mic picked it up, but that's how it unlocks. Now, part of the other visibility portion that I'd mentioned, those new rear windows, this hood, the shoulders on the hood aren't quite as pronounced as the 24s, and that increases your visibility. That was actually a complaint that I had from a lot of people, was they felt that they couldn't see exactly where their corners were because this hood was kind of bulbous here, big shoulders. I don't think that takes away. From the look of it, I think it looks great. Visibility wise, I think it's definitely an improvement, especially if you're on the shorter end of the height spectrum. Front door card, very similar to that of the rear with the soft touch materials. The front two windows are auto power windows, regular power windows for the rear, and we have window lock if we need it. Traditional Subaru, easy to use power mirror adjustment. And we do have a little bit more storage with a bottle holder there. Now, they have done flat black around the door handle, which I like. It's not gonna get marked up quite as easily as say something like piano black. Touring is the first trim level where you get a power driver seat, including lumbar support. And it's the same seating material, that gray premium cloth with the blue in it and that blue contrast stitching. It's very, very comfortable, these new seats. These are the same seats that you find in the Crosstrek, that extra bolstering. These seats are designed for long distance driving. They're gonna keep you in a more comfortable state and you're gonna be less fatigued. You're gonna be more rested at the end of a long day of driving. We end up with the panoramic sunroof, which is again, a first in the Touring. Everything above that gets it, nothing below it gets it. Then by the driver's left knee, we have the ability to open the rear hatch, a scroll wheel for the brightness of the gauges, and we can turn off that kick sensor for the rear tailgate if for some reason you didn't want it. Now, inside, it's push button start. My foot's on the brake, light goes green, green means go. Everything comes to life. We have blind spot detection indicators on our side mirrors, and they illuminate orange when something's in your blind spot or going to be in your blind spot momentarily. Kind of hard to see in the sun, but it is right here, that little nub. I don't know if the camera's gonna focus on it, but that is the nub, and that illuminates orange when someone's in your blind spot. And I'm actually gonna turn the system off and then turn it back on, and you'll see what I mean if you didn't catch it on the initial one. So it illuminates like that on the corresponding side. So it's not an excuse not to shoulder check, but it is a nice enhancement, and it's not a reason not to shoulder check, but the visibility in here is absolutely phenomenal. And I understand that you're kind of getting a skewed perspective with the camera, but even over the hood, like very, very good visibility, virtually no blind spots in here, which is something the Forester has always been touted for. Steering wheel itself, leather wrapped. The convenience gets kind of a plasticky wrapped one, so this is the first leather wrapped. Left-hand side, we've got our audio controls. We have the ability to accept phone calls, hang up, decline phone calls, issue voice commands, switch between AM, FM, satellite, etc. And we can switch between presets. This little toggle used to be volume. It's now there, but you can cycle through a different little information screen each time you press that toggle. And if you go past the one you want, you can just go back to it. So easy to use, which is very nice. Right-hand side, we have our adaptive cruise and our lane centering. Both of those use these 3 black boxes, those color stereo EyeSight cameras, to look for cyclists, road lines, pedestrians, and other vehicles. This new 3rd wide-angle mono camera increases the field of vision from left to right. So EyeSight picks up things more easily and sooner. Now, when I turn on the adaptive cruise, you get an image of the Forester there, and you'll see there's 4 bars ahead of it. Now there is 1. So the bars are the follow distance behind the vehicle ahead of you that you'll follow at if you catch up while using cruise control. So 4 bars at 100 kilometers an hour is roughly 150 to 180 feet. If you want to follow closer, you can decrease that follow distance by pressing the down arrow. Lane centering, little steering wheel there. You'll notice there's dull gray lines on either side of the distance markers. Above 60 kilometers an hour, if the cameras can see the road lines, they'll illuminate white. And once they do, you'll get gentle steering input to keep you in the middle of your lane. Great aid, not an excuse not to have your hands on the wheel. We're not Tesla. Best thing ever. I really, really like both of those pieces of technology. I recommend you let someone give you a demonstration, show you how they work. They're phenomenal. We do have paddles, upshift and downshift on the back of the steering wheel. You can make and take you can manually select your own gears if you want. So you can downshift, you can upshift. Thought for a second I was going back to that left side there, but I'm not. I use the paddles all the time in my Outback. Save some brakes. Intelligent and sport drive modes. Intelligence for everyday driving. Sport, you just press it, and you'll see that yellow line's a little bit more aggressive. You're gonna sit at a higher RPM, so you're gonna go faster sooner. Heated steering wheel, faint orange light when it's active. And then down bottom left of the steering column, we have the ability to tilt and telescope the steering wheel depending how you like to sit. This is the first year you've got the 11.6-inch touchscreen in the Forester. They've borrowed it from the Crosstrek, the Outback, the Ascent, and the Legacy. And they've broken it into 3 portions. Top portion, we've got some information screens. It's also where we turn on X mode, which is like 4 low in a pickup. Only usable up to 40K an hour. After that, it kicks out. We get weather as part of your satellite radio trial, widgets, gauges, and you can change them if you're not a huge fan of them. I always change them to the same ones. And then what you're listening to. We have our 4 ways. And then the main portion of our screen, we have physical and volume and tuning knobs, and then radio, media, and phone. Those are pretty self-explanatory. Media is anything that's not in the vehicle, Bluetooth, auxiliary, USB, something like that. Phone allows you to hook up your phone to Bluetooth. Under apps, we have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. You gain access to the My Subaru app, which is also on the main screen. After the vehicle's registered your name, that you download the app, set it up, and that allows you to remote start the vehicle from your phone, lock and unlock it, and a host of other features. When you put it in reverse, backup camera pops up. It does show you the top of the bumper there, and you have rear assist braking and parking sensors, and I can clean the backup camera from inside the vehicle. Best thing ever. And I know that a lot of the competitors, the CR-V and the RAV4, do not have that. It's a great thing in the winter. Lower portion, we have home. We have the ability to disable the auto start stop. We can turn on auto vehicle hold, which is a brake holder for construction, drive-through, and rush hour traffic. And then we can go into some vehicle settings, driving assistance settings, and more settings. Lower portion, climate control. It is dual zone, and we have physical buttons on either side. Goes up and down in 0.5 degree increments. Or if we click on the screen, we can click, we can drag, we can sync it back to driver controlled. We can control where we want our airflow. If we want recirc on AC, max AC, really easy to use. Fan strength buttons. You can have it focus just the front, or you can have it focus the entire cabin, which is really nice. Heated seats, 3 stages for both the driver and passenger, which is handy. With the cloth, heats up super quick. And then below that, we have 2 USB ports, an auxiliary, and a 10-watt wireless charger. And they've changed the design or size, styling of the center console, and this is actually soft touch. So if you rest your knee against it, it shouldn't hurt after driving with it like that. But this is going to charge your phone fast. If you don't want it charging, turn it off. Simple as. Automatic, and I do really like this new drive selector. I think it's ergonomically pleasing, feels good in the hand. It is kind of soft touch itself, rubbery. I like. Drive, manual mode. That's where you use those paddles that I was showing you earlier. Below that, we have our park brake. Pull up to activate, foot on the brake and push down to deactivate. are cup holders, no drink raisers in them. They're kind of medium depth, which is nice. They're not super deep like the Outback, not as shallow as the Crosstrek ones. Then we have a 12-volt power point for any charging needs you may have. We've got a little rubberized storage area, and then this is a softish touch armrest. Decent amount of storage in there and a place to run cords out of, but no power points in there, which I think is kind of an odd choice. Up top, auto dimming rear view mirror, no switch to flick if someone's got their brights on behind you. I'm a huge fan of this. This is probably my favorite feature in any vehicle ever, regardless of if it's a car, a truck, or an SUV. Integrated compass, and you do get the HomeLink system. You can hook up to 3 separate garage doors to your mirror. Above that, we have our LED map lights, our sunroof controls, our SOS and roadside, which is part of your 3-year My Subaru Connected Services trial you get with most new Subarus. Sunglass storage, and you will notice the headliner's all black. They've gone away from kind of the two-tone headliner, which I'm a big fan of. Manual shade with the sunroof. It extends into the second row. If you open the glass, it'll drag the shade all the way. We've got our card holders, and these are definitely bigger than the previous ones, which is nice. Vanity mirror with light, and then you can extend this to the side if you're being blinded. Really, really easy to use. So that is a quick look at the 2025 Subaru Forester Touring in the Sapphire Blue. Complete redesign for the Forester, updated exterior, interior, updated engine. It's 2.5 liter still, 180 horsepower. Tons of refinements and improvements over the previous gen Forester. You still have 8.7 inches of minimum ground clearance, and of course, Subaru's full-time, legendary, symmetrical all-wheel drive. It does still retain that boxiness of the Forester that we all know and love, but it does have some styling improvements to go along with that. So thank you for sticking with me for the full walkthrough of the 2025 Subaru Forester Touring. I'm Tyson, the Subaru specialist from Subaru Prince George. If you guys have any questions about this car behind me, any of the tech in it, how any of the features work, please put it in the comments below. I love hearing from you guys, love getting your questions, hearing your feedback. If you're in British Columbia or close enough to British Columbia, willing to make the trip up to Prince George here in the middle of the province, please reach out directly to me. I would love to help you find your perfect Subaru. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll talk soon.